Hello and welcome to EDU 10004, our Flipped Collaborate for our third assignment. So we've made it through assignment 1, you've powered through assignment 2, and you're so close everyone. We've got assignment 3, it's only got a weighting of 30%. This is a little bit different. Again, you're going to be working on your own and alongside some teammates, so you can really rely on each other for this one. And I just encourage you not to take your foot off the accelerator quite yet. I know everyone's super busy, but you can really be a friend to your future self by just chipping away week by week in this assignment. And I promise you, before you know it, we'll be in week 12 and everyone will be celebrating. So I just thought I'd walk you through the details of this assignment. And you can see I've come into my home page and I've gone to assignments, and I'm going to click on the details of assignment 3 case study. Okay, so we know we've got our word limit here of 1,500 words. Oops, let's bring that back up for us. We've got our word limit of 1,500 words plus or minus 10%. We have a nice gentle weighting of 30%, and it's due Monday of week 12. Let's have a little look. In our assignment overview, it tells us, let's look at case studies. So case studies depict real-life scenarios or problems that help people consider multiple ways of looking at a topic. They also provide opportunities to link theory with practice because they bring theory alive with a real-world scenario. So we know that we've been each week looking into different theories, looking at different perspectives on children's learning and development, and we know that you have a really good solid understanding of that. But if you think of this as a bit of an opportunity to demonstrate what you know, so we're giving you a scenario, an example of an experience in the learning environment, and we really just want you to show us what you've understood and how you would apply that. So that's why we're using a case study here. And this assignment, it's both an individual and collaboration with your teammates. So we're going to do a little bit of both here. And what are we going to ask you to do? We're going to ask you to analyze a case study in relation to theories encountered in this unit. So then you're going to then develop an improved case study. And finally, we'd like you to reflect on your learning, and that's going to be on your experience in the A3 task case study, and also a reflection on your 12 weeks with us. Okay, let's have a little look at our assignment details. Okay. For this assignment, we're going to be working in teams, and we know that ELA's in weeks 6 and 7 allocated teams, and they've set you your own dedicated thread for your team. Consider that your own little chat box for you guys to make contact. And then from there, if you'd like to continue using that, you can. If you have other forms of communication you prefer, maybe people like Skype or Collaborate or email, it's your choice. That's just a great way for you to start making contact. So we really need to understand the scenario for this assignment. And additionally, to support your success in this assignment, we're going to ask you to engage with the learning materials. You will really find that Chapter 13 is hugely helpful this assignment. So really encourage you to have a good understanding of this scenario here. And then when you read Chapter 13, go ahead and make some notes for yourself, and you'll find that it will really help you along your way. And then we've got the links here to the different elements in our assignment, and we're going to go into each of those in a minute. So let's just quickly look at the scenario together. So here we have Michael, the teacher in a grade 1 classroom, is finding it hard to communicate with a newly arrived refugee family from Syria who have enrolled their 6-year-old son, Farid. Farid speaks 3 languages, including English, with a good level of understanding, and is learning to read and write in English. Farid sits at a table with Hudson and Grace, and sometimes they can be seen laughing at his accent. However, other times they work well together and are able to complete their learning tasks. Farid is very quiet and has made friends with another child, Macy, and they are often seen together outside in the playground. So just take a minute with that scenario, because you'll find there's lots of little clues in there. There's lots of little opportunities to understand the background and the learning environment itself, the people who are involved here, and have a little look at the names and the people and the scenarios there, and that will help you give you clues of what you can jump into some detail with your newly improved scenario. Okay, so we've got 5 steps to complete this assignment, and we're going to ask you to use headings for each of them. So step 1, we're going to ask you, it's the analysis of the scenario in relation to the theoretical perspectives. So this is approximately 250 words. So this is covered in week 8. And so for your team discussion, these are the things that you're going to cover, and you'll head into your own dedicated team thread to discuss that together. Then we've got step 2. So this was step 1 is a team task. Step 2, this is where each of you identifies one of the 7 theories that we've explored in the unit to apply to the scenario. And so this is what you're going to look at. So each of you is going to choose a different theory. You're going to provide a summary of it. You're going to apply the theory to the scenario, provide some examples of how children would learn if this theory was underpinned in the teacher's practice, and define and describe specific teaching strategies that your theory could support. So that's where you'll go off. Each of you will choose a different theory. That's really important. Go off, do some research, write it up, and then you come back in step 3 and share it with your team. So here you're going to share your work from step 2 with your team, and together you'll decide which theories you've shared offers the most effective solution to the scenario. Explain why and give some examples. And please note there's no right or wrong answer here. There's no right or wrong theory here. It's just you looking into your research and applying it to this scenario. Then we're going to head back to individual work. So we're going to ask you to write an improved scenario, and finally a reflection. So you're going to write a reflection on not only the team task, but also the unit, the 12 weeks that we've had within our unit. You're going to finish off with an appendix, so you're going to demonstrate to us in criteria 1. We ask you to show us how you've actually collaborated with your team, and you might take up to 2 pages just to show that to us. And we're going to have our references at the end as well. We've got some links here. So some tips and tricks on working with teams, our APA guides, and our assignment support, and our template. So you can click on that. That's an example of how you might present it and collate your work with your team. I've also popped that into our Padlet. And finally, of course, everything comes back to the criteria. So this is what the ELA team will be using to grade your assignment. So I won't go through that here. This is something that we can look at in a live collaborate. So looking at team collaboration, applying perspectives, creating an improved scenario, reflection, academic skills, researching, and referencing. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there because that's very wordy and you can go through that. But I thought I might take you next to our Padlet. So again, our Padlet is full. It's chock full of every single question we think you could ever ask. I'm really conscious of your limited time. I know many of you have so many elements, so much work and family and many things going on in the world at the moment. And it can be really frustrating when you've got the time and the headspace to jump into an assignment, but you're just stuck in an area and you really need a question answered. So I filled this to the brim with many questions and many answers. So let's start with how we're going to support you. So you're listening to the Flipped Collaborate here. Obviously, I'm going to pop my little link in here. And how are we going to support you? So you're listening to the Flipped Collaborate. Thank you for doing that, everyone. Then we're going to have a live brainstorm collaboration. So that will run for about an hour. We will record it, and that's a great opportunity for you to jump in and do some brainstorming with our ELA team. That will be very helpful for you. And then same thing, just 1 week out of the assignment. If you've got any last minute niggling questions that you have, you can pop in and ask ask the ELA team what your questions are and get them answered in enough time before it's submitted. And again, that's our model of following our Flipped Collaborate first. We have our live Collaborate sessions. So I've popped the links in here, and I'll also pop this in an assignment for you. So it's in an announcement, so it's easy for you to find. So we've got our Brainstorm collab session, our Q&A session, some details on how to find the recordings. I've actually popped in here the slides that we will be using for the Brainstorm collaboration session. Sometimes I know students have found it helpful. They might print them out beforehand, and then as people do have some discussion and some chat and some brainstorming, they actually like to write all over the pieces of paper. I'm a bit of a paper and pen girl myself, so I understand that. So those are the slides in there if you'd like to have a look. Okay, and here are all our frequently asked questions. What is a case study and why are we doing a case study? So one of the things that's a bit of a bonus that I never really understood until I was teaching was the benefits of an enjoyment of working with my colleagues and working in a team of educators on a year level or in a subject, and how you really rely on each other. So often you'll come up against a bit of a problem, and you sit down and try and nut it out together. And I know different educators have different ways of viewing things and theories, and this is sort of a reflection of that. So that's what this assignment is, an opportunity to sit down and use our knowledge and do some problem solving. And questions about how can you chat and what format can you chat in. Talking about that, I've just created 6 live collaborate rooms. So a lot of students like to pop in there and say, each week, let's jump in on a Thursday night and we can just discuss what we found, and they find that's a much better use of their time. For other people, it might be that you create a plan of when and how that you'll share each week, but those collaborate rooms are there for you if you'd like to use those. And how many references do I need? You can see it goes on and on and on. Should you use headings? And how do I take a screenshot? There's many things in there. So please have a look all the way through. Every person will submit their own document for this, and you'll take parts of your team members, you'll add it to your own individual parts, and every person will submit one document for this. Over here, this one's going to be a little bit helpful to you, I'm hoping. Let's move to the top. This is our suggested format template. So have a look, click in there, and it gives you an example of how you might submit your assignment. And everyone will be super duper happy, ready to jump up and down. We have an exemplar. So this exemplar is actually for an old iteration. So you'll see that it's not reflecting for it. We want you to come up with your own ideas. So everyone, have a look over the Padlet. Remember, head to your ELA's Q&A thread if you have any questions, and all the very best for A3. We wish you all the best.